Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to What's the 411 News. And we have rebranded ourselves here, changed a little bit of things up, changed some color around, changed some logos around, and I hope you guys like it. Let us know in the comments what you think about it. We're keeping it FBA and BGR all the way, so we have to do that with the colors, with the flags, so everybody knows who we are. All right. So in the news today, you guys see it on the screen. Donald Trump. All right, he's in the news, man. Y'all know that he says a lot of things. He's supposedly the person known to not be told what to do, right? And so I guess that means he's not going to be told how to think, what to say, but that can also cause a problem as well. All right. It also be a problem when you want to be that rogue, independent type of president, right? There could be some problems with it, or maybe not. All right. So, yeah, there was a video that he came out and said some things, and in regards to giving police immunity. And so there might be some wording disputes. There also might be some thoughts on his stance with Black Americans, because there's always been an issue, and you could take this all the way back to slavery, where although they might not have been known as police back then, if you tried to escape, they sent out some people to come get you. If you was the slave master, you was the overseer. And so police can be looked at as overseer, 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 officer, 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 overseer, right? And so, yeah, we're going to take a look into this, man, and see what's really going on. First, we're going to take a look at the video. Then we're going to go into the article and maybe try to break down some things, man. Maybe ask some questions. We're going to get scientific with it, with the observations and with the questioning, right? We're going to get scientific with it. So, with that being said, let's take a look at this video, all right? Let's go.
Our cities, we're going to bring them back like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution, so they're not prosecuted for doing their job. We'll take over the horribly run capital of our country, Washington, D.C., and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital city so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime.
All right, we're going to play that one more time and just listen carefully. Then we're going to get into the article, break the article down, break the video down as well, all right? Just that portion of what he said.
We're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to bring them back like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution.
We're going to give the police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. All right, we'll play that a little bit one more time.
Immunity from prosecution. And we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. Their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. Again, we're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution, so they're not prosecuted for doing their job. We'll take over the horribly run capital of
so they're not prosecuted for doing their job. All right. Before we get into our feelings, we don't want to get into our feelings. We always want to think scientific and critical, which kind of intertwines with each other. All right. And so let's break this down. So Trump says police should have immunity from prosecution amid deportations. Now, that was a short clip. And yeah, we're going to have some questions. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right. As I always said, I was never, me personally, I would bring up things about him that sounds good. But I always would say with an air of caution. I didn't use those exact words, but you would know that I was saying I'm not caping for him, but it's just things I notice about him. That's what I actually said. I'm not caping for things that he says, but I'm just pointing out things he said. Like, for instance, I've mentioned before that he stated that Black Americans built this nation, right? That's on documented video. Black Americans built this nation. And then recently we did the report on when he was in Atlanta in the Chick-fil-A, where he was saying that he's going to do something for Black people, I guess because, you know, they was looking out for him or they rocking with him. So we got to keep those things in mind and keep him in remembrance of those words that he stated. Don't let those go. Don't let those slip from him. Every time there's a chance, if you out and about and he comes around your town, better remind him of what he said. Black Americans built this nation. And I'm going to do something for the Black people when he was in Atlanta. All right. I always said that he's a clever in the way that he uses his words because he knows that it's going to get a certain bit of attention when he says certain things. And that might be his goal of doing exactly that, gathering certain people's attention because it might draw them to possibly voting for him. But by no means are we caping for him. We're paying attention to everything. We're being observant to everything, every move he makes. And we're observing for others who might cape for him as well. Being very observant of those folks. All right? Because with him, he's been on an up and down throughout the years. All right? He said some things disparaging regarding the Central Park incident. But then there's a story by Judge Joe Brown himself stating that he once gave a Black guy who was running a business, wanted to start a business, gave him some money. And, you know, let him know that, hey, you got to pay this money back, but I'm going to give you this money to start this business. And so when the guy got on his feet with his business, he wrote the check back that he was supposed to pay Trump. And Trump ripped up the check because he just wanted to make sure that that Black guy was going to actually come back and pay back what he gave him to get his business started. So with Trump, he has an up and down history when it comes to Black folks, as far as I'm concerned. But you always got to keep paying attention to all of that, all right? On my podcast show, I did a podcast episode about studying the ops, all right? The Neely Fuller Jr. way. So go back to that, go to that podcast episode and go study that video because this is how we're going to look at Trump as the ops right now until further notice because he's been saying some wild stuff and he said some good stuff. So with that being said, I've talked enough. Let's get into this article, all right? Let's get into this article real quick. So yeah, Trump says police should have immunity from prosecution amid deportations. Now, in that video, he didn't say that, but in this article, it's saying that's what he said. So there's already a discrepancy right there. So former President Donald Trump pledged to carry out mass deportations. And that's even another topic we can discuss on a separate topic, or we're going to stay on topic regarding this immunity situation. He pledged to carry out mass deportations of undocumented immigrants through the use of local law enforcement, the National Guard, and potentially the U.S. military if he's reelected. This is quote, "We will be using local law enforcement," Trump said of the deportations in an interview with a magazine source we won't mention because they don't pay us, all right? So the former president noted that he wants to give police special immunity from prosecution. And we have to give the police back the power and respect they deserve, Trump said. Now, there will be some mistakes, and there are certain bad people, and that's a terrible thing. And you know, police are being prosecuted all the time, which that's not the case. And we want to give them immunity from prosecution if they're doing their job. Then let's go back to that real quick. I know that's who he's talking about, the police, or that's who he's got to be talking about when he says, and we have to give the police back the power and respect they deserve. Now, there will be some mistakes. See, I always say, watch his words. Watch his words all the time. Listen to everything. Not even just him, but a lot of them, all of them. Now, there will be some mistakes. So what he's saying, or what it sounds like he's saying, and there are certain bad people, and that's a terrible thing. So when we ask, is he double speaking? That sounds like some double speak. You're saying something and it has double meaning, or it could have a double meaning to it, right? Now, there will be some mistakes. Some mistakes meaning there's going to be some police officers that's going to mess up and do some old dirty nonsense, right? Dirty-ish. And there are certain bad people. Are you referring to police again, Trump? Without saying the word police and police officers, you're using double speak words. So it's like he's acknowledging without having to say directly, because he doesn't want to affect all the police officers who might potentially vote for him. That's what it sounds like to me. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Sounds really good with the double speak, the double talk. So he's already acknowledging without acknowledging, if you get what I'm saying. All right, so let's continue on. And we want to give them immunity from prosecution if they're doing their job. Now, are you referring to doing the job of the deportations? Because as we said earlier, he says we will be using local law enforcement of the deportations. So are you just doing this, giving this immunity, or wanting to just for the deportations until that's dealt with? And then are you going to remove? I'm just asking some questions, all right? Because I want the people who watch us to think, all right? Are you just going to do this immunity only for the deportation time frame? And then are you going to change things up, or are you going to leave those immunities in place, Trump? Because again, we're talking about the Black Americans, and since we built this nation, I think we ought to have some respects here too, because let's keep it real. Let's keep it 5,000. There has been a history with police and Black Americans. That's just being honest. That's just facts. For anybody who gets mad, that's just facts. There has been a history that's not been on the best of terms either. So for you claiming you're going to do something for Black people, that doesn't sound like you're going to be doing much for Black people, especially when we don't know in what ways are you using this immunity, and for how long you're going to have this immunity going, right? We don't know. And see, that's the game that could be played when it comes to Black Americans specifically. because you're going to continue doing this double speak. You're going to say stuff that's going to be tantalizing to the ear of Black Americans, because you're going to try to get their vote. But then on the other end of the spectrum, you're going to start throwing in some other stuff like, I'm going to give them immunity or special immunity from prosecution. This is why I always said, you can't just, we not just caping for Trump, and everybody, those who have been caping for him, need to be careful as well. All right, so let's go on with the article, man. Trump added that he would incentivize local and state police departments participating in deportations. What do you mean when you're going to incentivize what? What does that mean? Incentivize what? Incentivize who? Incentivize how? Well, there's a possibility that some won't want to participate, and they won't partake in the riches, you know, he said. I don't know what he means by that. As I'm going on with the article, I'm thinking at the same time as I'm reading this article what he means by that. Well, there's a possibility that some won't want to participate. Are you saying some police officers won't want to participate and they won't partake in the riches? What type of riches? You're going to incentivize them with some money? Some police officers, you want to give them some more money somewhere, or somewhere that's dealing economics, that the economics going to be a little bit more up to the pockets? Is that what you're referring to? See, you got to be careful. Like I said, he does very clever double speak. I've always acknowledged his cleverness, because clever and recognize clever. And so you got to catch those things when he says that, or when you read them. I would have no problem using the military per se, he said. Again, watch the words, per se. We have to have law and order in our country. We've heard that word before, law and order. What does that mean? Does that mean the slave patrols to the 2024 way? Law and order, slave patrols, law and order, slave patrols, law and order. All right, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to help folks think about their choices, because we're not caping for Biden or Trump. But I'm trying to show you where they're coming from, or might be coming from, or the slickness they might be using. All right. We have to have law and order in our country, and whichever gets us there. But I think the National Guard will do the job. A magazine source interviewer by the name of Eric Cortellessa asked Trump how he would justify using the military considering the Posse Comitatus Act, an 1878 law that removed the military from civil law enforcement. Okay? Y'all write that down and keep that in your study books, in your notebook of information. You should have one. Write that down. Posse Comitatus Act, 1878, which is a law that removed the military from civil law enforcement. All right. Well, these aren't civilians, Trump said. Okay. He's trying to stay in the lane of talking about these illegal aliens. All right. He's talking about illegal aliens. So again, I say, is this immunity just for until deportations? But he also mentioned earlier, like I said, he said that there's going to be some mistakes. So again, it's making me think, and I hope it's going to make you think when I say this. He's realizing there's going to be some mistakes. And I'm thinking, well, what? In the sense of, he's going to incentivize the police, going to get their money up a little bit more, maybe. Is that what he's meaning? And that intertwined with the deportations, using local law enforcement to handle that. Local law enforcement is also going to deal with its natural citizens. And if they do some wild behavior with the illegal aliens they might get carried away and do some wild behavior with the natural born citizens, right? Just trying to get you to think. Again, this guy asked him, well, how would you justify using the military considering the Posse Comitatus Act, an 1878 law that removed the military from civil law enforcement? Well, these aren't civilians, Trump said. These are people that aren't legally in our country. The Biden campaign condemned Trump's comments, calling the former president a dictator. In his own words, he is promising to rule as a dictator on day one. Again, that's that old political game playing they do to try to sway those who's not thinking scientifically. They're going to start thinking, well, Biden might be right. It's just all games. That's all it's trying to sway people, trying to sway their thoughts and sway the direction on who they're going to rock with. That's all that part is about. When they're saying that Biden campaign condemned Trump's comments, calling the former president a dictator. In his own words, he is promising to rule as a dictator on day one, use the military against the American people, punish those who stand against him, condone violence done on his behalf, and put his own revenge and retribution ahead of what is best for America. James Singer, a spokesperson for the Biden campaign, said in a statement, Trump is a danger to the Constitution and a threat to our democracy. So y'all go back and play this again and write down all these names. I always say to do that. Write down James Singer's name, Eric Cortellessa's name. I thought there was somebody else in here. Maybe that's it. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. All right. Again, it's just a play to get rid of the illegals, the illegal aliens specifically. Is that what the deportation talk? Like I said, I keep saying it, and it might not be all the way what I'm saying, or it might be. It's just stuff I'm thinking as I'm speaking. He's playing the double speak game because, okay, I'm going to make the police feel a certain way so they can rock with me. So I'm going to say these words here and there. I'm real good with saying certain things here and there. They're going to rock with me. I'm going to do it for deportation. Is it a game that he's going to say he's doing it for deportation? Because maybe he's hearing from his team that a lot of Black Americans are sticking with, let's go with the deportation, and we're not going to worry about reparations. So maybe his team has caught an ear of that and is telling them that. So they formulating a strategy, getting their think tank on and putting this stuff together and thinking, okay, that's what we're hearing. That's the buzz we're hearing. We're getting that intel, and we're hearing some Black Americans say, yo, this is the main thing that they rocking with, and this seems to be more important to them, and reparations starting to get less and less to them. So Trump, you need to say something about them deportations, because you get two birds with one stone. You get some Black Americans start rocking with you because you're saying deportations, and that's what they starting to feel and liking, and they leaving their reparations out. Not all, some. And then at the same time, I want to get the police immunity, and so I'm gonna get the police to rock with me. So I'm gonna got the Black folks and the police rocking with me. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm just saying. And so, like I said, he just needs to be keeping an eye on, need to watch. And it's a good time to it's time to start talking about who's going to be in the cabinets. No need to wait till afterwards. I learned that from Lee Iacocca, from his book. You don't need to be finding out after the fact if he becomes president, then find out, or right after he becomes president, if he should become president, then find out who his cabinet is going to be. We need to start analyzing that too. We need to start being scientific in observing who he's going to put in his team. Right? His inner circle team. His right-hand man's in them. Okay? His right-hand man's in them. We need to start knowing who his right-hand man's in them is going to be as well. So we can start gathering the intel on them too. And what they're about, what their policies are about. All right? So with that being said, I appreciate y'all as always. Thank you for coming in. Hope y'all like the new look. All right. Hope y'all like the new look. Let me know what you think about the new look. I think I'm going to keep that. I think we're going to keep this look. It represents true Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, Black grassroots, the Black conglomerate, if you will. So, yeah, I think we're going to keep it rocking like that. All right. So let us know what you think, ladies and gentlemen, about this one. All right. This is What's the 411 News. And we'll be back with another one. I'm out. Peace. Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it.